Welcome, wonderful friends, to the Sunday rune and card readings. Thank you so much for joining me. And thank you guys. I just have to say, for those of you who follow the readings regularly every Sunday, I mean, aside from, thank you for your feedback, your love, your support, your comments. You guys are just so inspirational. I want to really say thank you for the prayers, the holding light for my beautiful fur baby, who is now a very elderly lady. And I know I said last week she was definitely picking up. I really want to say she's turned a corner, and literally the last few days she has started to have something of the aliveness and spirit and bounce that she used to have. Despite being older, she really lost all of that. It was like she was a flattened sort of soul for a little while. She's really been struggling for a little bit, and I have seen a major shift in her. I've also really felt the incoming energy of your prayers, the light you've been holding for her, the circles you've placed her in. So really, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you. That we know that our thoughts are so powerful. We know that words carry power, and a charismatic leader can, fuel a large group of people and get them to step into the very best version of themselves. Likewise, a charismatic leader can actually, through language and words, actually incite a crowd to step over the bounds of what would constitute being a decent human being, and commit acts that are just so far removed from anything that is okay. So we understand that words carry power. We understand that thoughts carry power. We understand prayers carry power. And I have really felt surges of incoming light, and really she has turned a corner. She is elderly, and I know that we have, we have to be real about nurturing her through this, latter part of her earth walk. But I just want to say thank you, because we have felt that here. We really have. And, from the bottom of my heart, the biggest appreciation to you. Anyone who's new, you'll be gathering that I have an elderly dog who has not been too well over the last few weeks. Hence, I haven't been posting as much on Facebook and, Instagram, with the sort of the moon cycles and those bits of information, those astrological pieces that I try to post on a fairly regular basis. But hopefully that will pick up again. If you are new to my channel, to this amazing community that we are building here on YouTube, welcome. I post readings every Sunday. Each month I give away a pack of the Art of Manifestation Oracle cards and a free private reading as well. I will be announcing the winners for last month, literally in the next few days. So, watch out for the announcement video. If you want to get that coming into your stream, if you want to check out who the winners are, in case it's you, just as well as subscribing, if you press the little bell icon, then it should come into your stream and you should get notification, because I will be posting that really soon. And let's just now tune in to, let me tell you a little bit about the energy of these readings today. And for anyone new, if you actually already know from the thumbnail which reading you want to tune into, the timings are in the information box. There's also a link to join the email list, the subscriber email list. You do need to be a subscriber for our monthly draw. The timings are there. You can fast forward to whichever video, whichever reading you want to tune in with. But a lot of people like to hear the extra guidance. Today we are receiving extra guidance through these native herbs, the wisdom of the native herbs. We have sweetgrass, yerba santa, and palo santo. Very high spiritual energy coming through here. I'll speak to you about the influence of these and how that's happening in just a moment. Also, some people like to sit with me as I draw the cards and the runes, so the choice is yours. Wonderful friends, let's begin. Let me first of all then tune into something of the astrology. Let's move these out of the way. We'll be drawing from them in a moment. In a few days' time, we have the new moon in Taurus. Now, the energy of this new moon, it's astrologically, it really it really draws in the astrological dynamics really ultimately focus on achieving a balance between the needs of the individual and the needs of the greater collective, which means that if you are seeking guidance perhaps on your calling, wanting to know how your purpose fits in the bigger picture but will also fuel your own happiness, or if you're navigating relationship or searching for a soulmate, it means the readings today, tuning in with that new moon energy, are going to be aligning with this idea of balance, achieving your own personal happiness, your own fulfillment, your own abundance in all areas of your life, alongside a contribution and a connection to the greater collective vision. And I want to say, not just for your place within humanity, but I think the greater vision of life itself. Native traditions really teach us, and I'm not a Native American, but I have been so strongly influenced by Native teachings all of my life, really. So those teachings have really underpinned my own growth and development. I have such respect for the fact that, you know, these are peoples who understood how to live with respect. So wonderful energy coming in with the wisdom from the herbal knowledge that they carry and they bring forth and offer all of us. And as I said, we move also into the fifth moon cycle. Listening woman is the fifth moon cycle in Native traditions. So we're moving into a new phase of the moon that underpins our personal growth and the way we fit with the collective growth. So we are moving into the new moon in Taurus, listening woman. So very powerful, because in this phase of the moon we learn to listen in ways that are different, not just listening in the way that we consider listening, like we sit down and listen to another. For me, this is like learning to listen. It's multitasking listening, learning to listen not just with your ears, but with your heart, with your eyes, with your physical body. Your body will respond. Your body is listening to life and will respond to certain things. And if you learn to listen to your body, that will give you a higher attunement to your own journey. Anyway, I could talk for hours about this. Let us move into the wisdom of these herbs. So reading number 1, we're going to be supported by the incoming energy of sweetgrass. Now, sweetgrass, as I understand it, is actually becoming increasingly rare. It's an incredible herb. When we burn it, it has the most beautiful scent of vanilla, but it just as white sage, for example, and indeed Salo Panto, cleanse negativity. Sweetgrass literally attracts positivity, so it's quite an extraordinary energy to use, and used with something like Palo Santo or white sage, the two are a very powerful combination, because we are dispersing negativity, we are drawing in positivity. So sweetgrass, reading number 1, is literally about the attraction of positivity and how that's going to fit in some area of your world. Reading number 2, very powerful little herb here, and it feels like it when I hold this tiny little smudge stick in my hand. This is Yerba Santa. Literally translated, my understanding, it's known as the holy weed or the holy herb. Now, it grows at very, very high altitudes, and so it has the essence of resilience. You know, plants that grow at high altitude have to handle extremes in climate, extremes in temperature. It's literally, it embodies durability, resilience. It's also known to be really, really good for the respiratory system. When we burn it, it really cleanses. It's also understood to really help us to manage transition, particularly loss, actually, you know, loss and grief. And if we think about growth as something that is ongoing, you know, you can't stop growth, you're growing every day, and we can try and resist it, but we are growing every single day. It's interesting when I think about my beautiful fur baby and her, you know, transition into, you know, really what is ultimately the latter part of her earth walk here. You know, and of her progression into that, and the way that, I mean, my goodness me, we learn so much from our animals. I think they teach us how to love unconditionally. They also show us how to move through the different phases of our lives with such grace and such validation. So there's something about Yerba Santa here in this second reading that is tuning us into transition and change, and you know how important that is, but the value of our connection to transition, as opposed to feeling like it's happening to us. We can gracefully become an active participant in transition and understand how that influences ourselves, and how, because we have such strong power, essentially through the power of our mind, the power of our prayer, the power of words, how we can actually influence those transitions. So again, connecting into manifestation, I'm hearing too. So reading number 2, quite a lot to say for reading number 2 here. Yeah, very powerful. Drawing in positivity, managing transition, developing resilience, durability. And lastly, but definitely not leastly, Palo Santo. The scent of this wood is incredible. You don't even have to burn it. It's interesting. I actually have a wonderful little pouch here that one of my wonderfully talented sisters, my eldest sister, made for me. I keep, I carry my, if I'm carrying crystals with me anywhere, I take them in this pouch. Inside here I have a piece of Palo Santo permanently in here. The scent of it and the energy of it is extraordinary, whether you burn it or you just carry it with you. It literally means holy wood. Its wood comes from a tree called the, I wrote that down, Bursera graveolens. I had to write that down. It's not going to hold in my memory well. But it's been used in ancient Incan traditions for centuries. It's an energy cleanser. Again, it's used in ceremony. It's said to be capable of resetting your energy. So literally, if you have been traumatized by something, or you find yourself entrenched in a pattern of negativity that connects to the past, this is very strongly coming through actually as a message. It neutralizes negativity before you even begin, you know, working with it. So very powerful to carry it with you, with your crystals, with you on your person. But it really helps to neutralize the aftermath of any form of trauma or any negativity that's with you. So if you're struggling with anything from the past, carrying this with you is quite helpful. As I said, I do carry a piece in that pouch when I'm with the crystals that I'm carrying with me for, you know, I tend to carry different crystals depending on what's taking place in my life. I really like to sit and tune in with the energy and see what I need. So, you know, it's about, for me, ongoing health. Understanding that there are things we can do to literally support us. It's like an ally on your journey. That's perhaps what I'm really hearing. But there's something about recovery from the past that's coming through in reading number 3. But of course we shall see when we draw the cards. So without further ado, I feel like I've had an awful lot to say today. And thank you very much for those of you who really enjoy this. And it's a wonderful thing for me to do these readings for you guys. It feels such a privilege, and I really, really do appreciate your feedback. You know, you guys are amazing. You are very, very inspirational. Now we're going to use 3 from this pack. This is the Light Seers Tarot. I'll voice this just because I know some of you are interested in which cards I'm using. So this is the Light Seers Tarot. We're going to draw from the Mythic Tarot as well. Oops, here we go, flying everywhere. And this is like my oldest tarot pack. I've had them for a very, very long time. They're very worn around the edges. Lovely, lovely warmth coming through from them. We'll draw 2 from this pack. We are then going to draw from the Art of Manifestation Oracle cards, just 1 from this pack I'm hearing. And also an angel card. Now this is an Archangel pack that we're using. Lovely, lovely guidance that comes from these cards. Fabulous. And then the runes. Again, very interesting, just 1. I'm hearing just 1 rune. Okay. So wonderful friends, you may want to pause the video. I'm actually going to rearrange them so that I can and take a little image for the thumbnails for people who want to tune in right at the beginning and don't want to do the herbs or the drawing in from, you know, the drawing of the cards. Press the pause button if you need to. Take your time. Trust your intuition. If more than one reading is speaking to you, trust that. And, you know, don't be dictated by any form of order either. You know, it isn't always 1, 2 and 3. I know some people listen to them all. Just listen to how they're speaking to you. Tune in with the different energy of the herbs. There's a very different feel coming from each of these. It's really quite extraordinary and very, very powerful energy. There's a real flow coming in. And remember, of course, with the new moon in Taurus, the new moon is really, it is the perfect time of the month to be setting wishes and intentions. And this particular new moon, as we move into the 5th moon cycle, listening woman, is all about, as I said, balancing the needs of us as individuals with the greater collective. So there's a real powerful opportunity in your new moon wishes to align with the incoming energy and the support of spirit, the universe, you know, however you view that for yourself, whatever your orientation and your belief system. Wherever you are with that, there's an amazing energy with this new moon to align with setting wishes, intentions that really do they kind of come with, it's like the universe has your back. If you are looking at wishes and intentions that connect to your place in the world, whether that is within relationship, within family, within friendships, within your work, your career, your calling, that's the kind of energy around this new moon. And also because it's in Taurus, there's such a grounding earthiness. So that collaboration between setting wishes, which are, you know, where we step into the dream time, connected to earthing them in a way that creates, you know, real opportunity for manifestation, for something to come into the physical form. That's really the energy around this particular new moon. So, wonderful friends, I will leave you and I will see you in the readings. So much love to you all. Namaste. Welcome to reading number 1. Governed by the beautiful energy of sweetgrass, literally drawing in positivity. There's quite a vibrancy, I have to say, here in this reading. Now, we have the rune of the warrior, the spiritual warrior. This is about discernment. It sometimes suggests we have to cut away the old. We have to choose to sort of let go of certain things. But it's got a very distinct energy. It's not just it's not letting go or something departing our life. It's really making a conscious choice, taking right action, knowing what we want to do. A lot of power of intention. That's what it feels like at this precise moment. Let's have a look though and see what the cards are showing you. Okay, so that's interesting. We have 9 of Wands but in reverse, 5 of Pentacles and the Page of Swords. Ooh, this has got a really vibrant energy to it, actually. 9 of Wands, the fact that it's in reverse, I feel almost like you've come through something. That's what I want to say. You've come through something. You're in a space. I'm just actually going to put these other 2 tarot cards up here in the same row. So we have 9 of Swords in reverse, 5 of Pentacles, Page of Swords, 7 of Wands and 2 of Cups. I'll place our rune here. Very, very powerful energy. We have the card of gossip and drama and we have a card of creative writing. Okay. Where am I going to place this? So I'm going to bring our rune down here. It sort of feels like it kind of completes our picture, the story we're being offered here. You've come through something. It's like you've overcome something. What I feel very distinctly is, and this is the drawing in of positivity, you have actually overcome, gosh, this is such a strong message coming through for you guys. You've come through a scenario, and I want to say it was big. where you've had to deal with the envy of others. That's really coming through strongly from this element of competition, the Seven of Wands. It's really interesting what this is suggesting to me. I don't think I've had such a defined message that's come through in a reading for quite a long time. As a generic reading, you know, I tend to be tuning into the energy, the influence of the different layers of messages and the way they come through. But this is very, very distinct. You've come through something. The Nine of Wands, for me, we're talking about like a testing of something. In reverse, you've come through it. You're leaving something behind. This is the right action of the spiritual warrior. If anything, this reading is actually a confirmation and a validation of your current position, okay? What you've had to deal with is in the past, and I think for some of you this has been multi-layered. For some of you it was like one big event. It was a phase in your life or a group of people, but basically you were envied. Your success, your capacity, your aliveness, your brightness, your positivity, your attitude, your dreams, your desires, you've kind of struggled on some level with the jealousy and envy of others. And this could, for some of you, go way back into childhood, but it's been reenacted at some point in your life. And to the point where it actually had previously really knocked you off balance. In a way, I think you possibly even suffered some quite significant, maybe even financial losses due to this. It's kind of a bit like a scenario where, you know, if you thought you were settled, you'd invested in something, and then as your world was building, you were almost targeted. I think some of you were bullied, actually. You were targeted, you were bullied, and it caused you to have to, through discernment, let go of something, move away. And you may even have struggled and experienced losses in that process. But you kind of, I feel like you walked your talk and you held your ground. And even though you may have lost materially, I think you've come through it in the bit that's intact is you at a level of soul. So this card, Gossip and Drama, this is quite an interesting story emerging here. Talking behind people's backs is one of the greatest producers of negative energy, with the potential to affect not only individuals but entire communities. When I was drawing the cards, I spoke about the power of words. I think in many ways I was connecting in with the second reading, but nevertheless, the power of language, the power of words. This card says, make a choice not to involve yourself in this. This card also asks that if you are unable to find anything positive to say, then please consider saying nothing. Okay, so very powerful message. I think you've had to overcome something. I am actually getting another second message coming through here. Let's focus on the first one first, because it's so defined, it's fascinating. You've come through something, you've taken right action, you've been really discerning, you've built up that core sense of integrity, but it has involved a loss. It really, really has. It cuts you right through to the bone almost. For some of you, there were financial losses. For others, it's almost as though it left you feeling really quite isolated because you had to let go of. It's like a group of people who, for them, their ways of being were not terribly conscious. They would be living in that, what I would call that gossipy drama type way. It's like living in the school playground. I mean, I can relate to this. I've lived in a community that was like that, and I had to actually really draw the line and move away and choose to stand in a position of integrity. Because actually, if I didn't, I would not be aligning myself with the calling of my soul. Again, very powerful because it's connecting the individual with the greater collective. It's that higher vision that we are moving into as we move into literally, and we are in the dawning of a new age. We are in this space of emergence. So you've overcome something. It did involve losses. It may have happened more than once, and that could have created within you a sense of, won't say futility, but a feeling of yeah, that there's something quite isolating when we choose to let go of a group of people and move into something because we know it's right that we do so. At the same time, the transitionary period can leave you feeling as if you're quite isolated. However, you've moved into a space of new learning. The Seven of Wands I'm hearing is very connected to this envy. I think people have targeted you because they are envious of your aliveness, your passion. But you're coming through this and you are stepping up. The Seven of Wands always calls us to step up. And this is like you're in this space where you fall in love with life again. You know, you are now, whether you are moving into a space where you are literally falling in love, you are meeting a new relationship, maybe, again, now I am seeing the more generic influence of this aspect of the message. It may have been that some of you were in a relationship in which your partner actually envied your capacity for aliveness, success. And they have in turn, you know, you were put down. You've had to move beyond that. But there's something about falling in love again. Now, we have this magical card of creative writing, which is coming through in this, as I said, very first message coming through for this reading. Archangel Gabriel, make time to write down your thoughts in a journal or pen an article or book. Now, this is where I wanted to focus on that first strong, specific message. Whatever that journey was for you, I really want to say write about it. If you've been considering writing about your experiences, blogging about them, or writing a book in a way that is going to actually help others grow through the same, there's something about a calling here for you to write. So if you have been considering whether you are writing prose, poetry, that defines something of your journey, your experiences, you are being invited here to share. And if for some reason you feel like, well, you know, it's a competitive world out there, your unique individual experiences are being called for here. So first layer of a very defined message. Some of you are literally being called to write. You are being called to bring forth your experiences, share them with others in ways that are going to help and offer guidance to others. You've come through something, you've emerged, you've taken right action. There's a real validation. Now, the second message that was coming through here is for some of you that are possibly still in the throes of having to deal with a level of competitiveness that's around you. And I want to say again, when people are competitive, I think a lot of the destructiveness that we see within humanity, again, it's within our smaller communities often. It's not just the stuff we see it in politics, actually, you know, what I would call the tit for tat, instead of actually thinking about who they're there to serve, I think, and I'm voicing a personal opinion, but I personally feel quite, I can feel quite disillusioned by politicians sometimes when I kind of hear the sort of, you know, rather than them putting forward a constructive debate where we assess and analyse and think about things, I hear them just sort of doing what I would call the school playground backstabby sort of, yeah, well, you did this and you did that. I don't want to hear that from my leaders. I want a bit more. You know, that's a personal perspective. But there's something about the nature of that, those sort of energetics that we see in our local communities and even in our families as well. It's that tit for tat sort of, you know, it's very childish. And for some of you, I think you are still dealing with this, and it kind of is a final challenge for you. You're having to deal with that process of kind of taking an ownership of your own position here, of your own empowerment. This is the second message. It's really interesting because I want to talk about sweetgrass coming here. Positivity, drawing in positivity. Now, for those of you that connect with that first message, this is you drawing in the positivity because you've created the internal shift and your external world is now going to start to align and stuff is coming to you, falling in love with life. It's like you're working from your heart center. You've left this behind. You use that sword of discernment to move beyond it. It's time to bring forth yourself and to emerge in the world. Second message coming through, for some of you, you are still in the thick of it, or you're experiencing something of this. And there's also something about the ownership of your position. You know, if you're feeling as though people are treating you badly or not giving you what you need, you know, step back from that. Think about how you can center yourself in a space where you are discerning. That includes what I would call any negative thinking within you, because this card, you know, talking behind people's backs, is one of the greatest producers of negative energy, with the potential to affect not only individuals but entire communities. This card is also speaking to me of, you know, yeah, if you're unable to find anything positive to say, then please consider saying nothing. It's also speaking to me of that internal language that we have, where we, you know, we go over and over stuff, and we tangle ourselves. You know, if we're involved in that, in continual negative thinking, you know, that's going on, whether it's directed at us or towards someone else, or we feel we've been targeted, if we're embroiled in it, ultimately we're drawing more of that in. Sweetgrass is inviting us to draw in positivity, to hold a position of self-responsibility, even if it means we have to kind of draw the line. There's something about drawing the line here. For some of you, you've already done it. And this reading is going, whoa, let's celebrate. This is amazing. You guys are amazing. Look what you've done. Look what you've been through. Yes, you had to go through a phase of isolation, but this is a new time for you. This is a new time. Move beyond that negativity. It's quite interesting because the Page of Swords, you know, in some packs, not necessarily in this one, but in some packs, again, it does speak of gossip and drama. It is in the Mythic Tarot. For me, it tends to, in a reading, tell me about gossip and drama. So, you know, there's something, again, we can get a little bit backstabby if we feel like there's a lot of competition. It can feel like the only way to get ahead is to sort of put down the opposition. You know, that's, again, we see it in politics in rather an upfront, you know, not such great way. This reading is really saying, you know, shift away from that. Look at your own pathway. What can you do to stop that within you? Because you're only going to bring more of it into you. You know, sometimes this is literally saying to you, look, don't get involved in that. Don't cut that negative thinking and bring the power, bring the empowerment back to yourself. You know, the moment we hold somebody else responsible for our position, you know, it's that sort of, he or she made me feel like, you know, yeah, they may have invoked those feelings for you, they may have pressed your buttons, but if you are waiting for them to then put it right, you've just handed away all your personal power. This is really a reading that's asking you to empower yourself, whether you've come through something or whether you are coming through something at the moment. I'm wanting to, for some of you, shift this. I mean, the Nine of Wands in reverse is lovely because it's in reverse. It's sort of saying you've done that. You've come through it for some of you. But for others, it is suggesting maybe a challenge in seeing the reality of what you're facing. You know, again, creative writing. Make time to write down your thoughts in a journal. When we journal, we are automatically creating a space of reflection. Whatever we write, it comes back to us. I recommended morning pages to somebody the other day. Well, I say the other day, it was a couple of months ago. And morning pages, I have to deeply apologise because the person who, I won't say invented, but spoke about morning pages and termed that phrase, I'm afraid I can't remember her name. I remember that I went to a talk that she gave and she was amazing. I will try and find it, and if anyone knows, please put it up in the comments. But morning pages, when we first wake up, if we free fall into writing, we're still in that zone of it's the in-between space before we've woken up. We're not in the deep space of dream time, as in, you know, our dream world, but we are not in the waking space where our mind has cluttered our thoughts as yet. We're in that in-between space where writing can really free flow. And again, even if you're writing your book, you may find that writing those morning pages first thing, not only is it an amazing space of reflection, for me my best writing takes place at that time, and sometimes in the night if I wake up I just write and it just pours through because there's nothing yet in the way. So I can really recommend that time for writing. It will create a space of reflection because you're being called to bring in positivity and to take responsibility for that. Cut away the old, take right action, don't be drawn into something. And if you're feeling threatened by the competitiveness or the envy of others, you're really being asked to step up and step beyond it. Two of Cups. Again, there could be some aspect of envy or jealousy in love or in relationship. You know, again, step up and move beyond that. Write about it. Process this because there is a real space of new beginning and a fabulous positivity around this reading. But you've kind of got to be open and available to grasp it and run with it in your own right. Wow. This is very, very powerful for our reading number 1. Wonderful friends, thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you next week, and for some of the larger readings. For those of you, again, that are new, I did complete some massive 3-month readings. They're actually on Vimeo. I make a very small charge for them. Ultimately, it works out at pence for each reading because you get all 12 signs, and there are 3 months of readings, so it's like 3 readings per sign, all 12 signs for I think it's £6.50 in UK money. So an amazing set of readings. They're really, really in-depth, and they run through from April, May and June. So do check those out. I'll put the link to the Vimeo page in the information box and the comments as well. Very powerful times, very powerful shifts of energy and transitions. So yes, and of course you can cross-watch for family, friends, for others if you're going through something. You can not only check into the readings for you, but you can see what kind of energy is going around with other people in your world as well. So I'll put that link there too. Wonderful friends, so much love to you. Namaste. Welcome to reading number 2 with the wonderful energy of resilience, durability coming from the Yerba Santa. We have the rune of journey. Now, this rune is interesting. The rune of journey, sometimes this literally does mean travel. It means we are going to move. There is a journey involved. More often than not, it's about journeying within and removing resistances to our own pathway forwards, those internal blocks we have to our own growth. So journeying within. But let's see what our cards are holding for us. Okay, so we have the card of the world. So this is both an ending and a beginning. Well, we have the card of the Tower too. This is a radical shift for you in some way. And we have the 3 of Cups. 7 of Cups as well, Page of Pentacles. We have the card of compromise, the card of peace as well, and of course this rune of journey. Right. Some aspect of your world is coming to an end. Some aspect is both it's like a phase of life coming to a completion, or an actual situation is coming to an end, it's coming to a completion. There's something about the evaluation of your position in relationships that's coming through here. For some of you, I think you have actually experienced a loss. Yerba Santa does actually help us to navigate transition and grief and sadness, actually. So there's something about evaluating some aspect of relationship here. Let me first of all focus on the fact that I think some of you have lost somebody. There are other messages coming through, so please bear with me if that particular message isn't resonating with you. There's transition within relationships coming through, full stop, but I'll focus on the connection with loss first. For some of you, you have actually lost somebody, and you are navigating this. I think for some of you, you are also potentially you've come through the loss of someone. Your world has radically, it's changing. It's a massive transition here with the card of the Tower. Lean on your friends. Your friends are there to support you. Your friends are there to help you to see the different choices that are available for you to move forwards. What is interesting is, I do think for some of you, you have experienced a loss and you're in that phase of bereavement where you are beginning to consider the potential of life opening up for you. Now, this is interesting because when we go through the different stages of grief, we will at some point reach a space where we need to kind of welcome life back in and also potentially consider the idea of new relationships. So there's something of that energy around. For some of you, you're still very much in that process of transition, of the loss of someone. And, you know, your friends are there to support you in the choices, and they're there to help you to sow seeds. We have the Page of Pentacles, to sow seeds for the new. But for others, you're further along in this stage. And what I do just want to bring up on the screen here for you, let's see if I can find it. My apologies, because I have all sorts of extras added here. But it's the A to Z of Emotional Health library. Let me have just managed to bring that up. So I just want to bring this up because I have a library. The A to Z of Emotional Health is a completely free resource. You'll see there www.azemotionalhealth.com. In the library, it's a completely free resource. It's in many ways it was my sort of parting gift to my profession as, you know, as I exited working as a full-time counsellor and psychotherapist. It is full of videos and audios that help you to navigate all sorts of every aspect of your emotional world. There is a massive section on loss and bereavement and the navigation of that. There are some quite big, there's one page with quite big audios on there, and also a series of bite-sized videos that literally talk you through the process of grief, from the immediacy of the shock and trauma that we go into when that happens, all the way through that process to the point where we start to embrace and embark on feeling that we can return to life. And I've talked about all the emotional undertones that we get. You know, the challenge is when we start to think about living again, as it were, maybe new relationships, it automatically tends to bring up guilt and feelings that we shouldn't, when actually really we should. So I really want to suggest that this reading for some of you is speaking about moving forwards. However, I also want to say there's something about navigating this card. We have this card of compromise. Are you in a situation where you need to make a compromise, or are you compromising too much? This card asks you to review your position and be sure to find a solution that takes the needs of all parties into account, including yourself. Everything in this reading is talking about navigating the choices of relationships. If you are looking for a new partner, I think there's more than one person on the horizon for you. And again, you are needing to really think very carefully about what you're looking for in relationships, in a relationship. And, you know, if you are, you know, if perhaps you've been online dating and you're talking about or starting to talk to somebody about meeting or making a greater commitment, really think about how you're going to navigate effectively, how you're going to fit together. Some of you are also evaluating a specific relationship. It's either a friendship or a family relationship, or indeed something within partnership. Maybe a friendship with someone has felt as if it's out of balance. You feel that you're giving more than you're receiving. This is then asking you to really review that from an internal position. You know, think about where the other people are within that, or the other person. As I say, for some it's a family member, for some it's a friendship. There's a huge amount of evaluation taking place here, but it's based on the fact that some aspect of your world is coming to a close. Some aspect of your connection to relationships, the way you relate to others, is coming to an end, and it's right that that chapter does so. It's right that you don't engage in relationships that take more than you give. and or more than you receive, rather, that take more than you receive. There's just something about that here. It's, for some of you, it's quite emotionally charged as well. But you're really being asked to take a position of your own ownership here, because something in your world is changing in relationship, and it's changing, it's going to be changing. That's the deal. It is changing, it's emerging, it's evolving. We are being asked in this reading, we have this wonderful message of peace. Look at the way we have an image of Archangel Chamuel with this dove representing peace, facing the card of compromise. It's very easy, if we feel that people aren't meeting our needs, to get very angry and feel like they should be the one to change. Actually, really, you're being asked to recognize here, actually, the empowerment is within you. You need to decide to hold your ground, to think about what you give and what you receive. Also allowing yourself to receive as well. You know, sometimes we don't allow ourselves to receive. We're not open to receiving, and as a consequence things feel out of balance, but we're playing a part in that. So there's some massive transition within some aspect of relationship. That's what this reading is all about. And as I say, for some of you, it's navigating the process of loss. There is a loss actually here in some way for all of you who are connecting in with this reading, but for some it's the loss of someone. For others, it's the loss that we experience when we let go of being a particular way. You know, in many ways, as we step into a place of personal empowerment where we choose to say no to people, you know, we let go of maybe the sort of people-pleasing aspect of ourselves, you know, the disease to please. We don't have to live like that anymore. If we are, everything here, yes, I won't give you endless examples. You know, you've got the flavour of this. Transition within relationship in which you begin to learn to navigate that transition and the contract of a relationship in a way that acknowledges the validity of everybody's position. And that includes your own choice to sort of, perhaps for some of you, to say no to some people, for others just to navigate it differently, for others to say no to yourself, allowing yourself to let go of patterns that are stopping you from receiving in an equal fashion. But the shift is occurring. Choices are available to you. You have been sowing seeds, and I believe there is a lot of promise here. Whatever this shift and transition is about, there is the promise of a new way of being, of a new life, potentially a new life with someone else if you have lost someone. So very powerful transition here taking place, very powerful energy. It's quite curious because I feel like you are literally in that pivotal moment of recontracting and needing to navigate that in a way that supports you in recognizing your own strength within this, because some of you have you've taken a lot, and it's felt like it's put you back into a lower ebb, a space of low energy, but I'm seeing that energy pick up through the shift of ownership of your right to navigate transition in a different way. And we have that paradoxical space, don't we, where I think we have to look after our own needs, but also recognise, you know, sometimes even when we separate from people, if we think they don't resonate with me, I'm going to move on from that. We don't have to do so in kind of anger. There's still another human being on their pathway. We can still send them love and walk away. You know, there's something about understanding that we are all love. Only love is real, and everyone is at a different stage on their journey. If somebody hasn't been giving you what you felt you needed, even if you walk away, we don't have to do so in anger. We can send them love and just know that they are in a different space, but we're taking ownership of our position. Wonderful friends, a flood of different layers to this particular reading, but the focus and the emphasis, however that applies to your unique individual circumstances. This is transition within relationship and taking a right, the ownership of your right to navigate your position in this, but with real awareness through love, of others as well at the same time. And as I said, for those of you in that transitionary process of loss, of bereavement, you know, my heart is truly, truly with you. And I really wish you to consider and your own needs and your own potential for a new future. It feels very strongly right. Gosh, I feel the presence, that the temperature has just dropped in this room. The presence of those around who are supporting you in moving forwards into a life of promise. You know, it's very important now to take an ownership of your own needs. And yeah, do check out the library if that is relevant to you and you need that additional support. You know, knowledge really is power from an emotional perspective. Wonderful friends, so much love to you. Namaste. Welcome to reading number 3 with the wonderful energy of Palo Santo, the holy wood that really does neutralise negativity. So much, a real sense of protection actually coming through here. Our reading is the reading of joy, magnificent. This is finding clarity. After a period of being in kind of fog. I'm going to use the term fog as well. Fear, obligation, guilt. You know, sometimes being guided or governed by some aspect of manipulation maybe around you. Let's look at our cards. So yeah, finding clarity, out of darkness into light. This is a fruit-bearing rune, so very powerful. We have the cards of strength. We have the Page of Wands. I thought it was the Ten of Wands. Page of Wands, Seven of Cups. Wow, the card of Death and the card of Justice. This is just, the readings this week are just so powerful, so huge in terms of transition. Probably not surprising given that we are just on the border of the energy of this new moon, but which is primed for transition and transformation. But wow. Okay. Big cards. Excuse me while I just sit with the energy here is absolutely huge. Okay, so we have the card of strength. I want to say you are being asked to tune into the lioness within. There is so much possibility around you, but, and it's not a negative but, this is a good but. The but is, what I'm seeing is, it's like there's a wobble. It's kind of like the shifts that you are embarking on are very, very big at the moment. Things are coming to an end in your world. You're weighing things up. There's so much possibility. There's so much evaluation going on. And I feel as though within that space of evaluation, and yeah, I want to be really honouring you guys. Big respect to you, because what I'm seeing is it's a level of personal transformation of there's such a strength of that comes through the ownership of your own pathway of integrity, of opening up, of awareness, of evaluation. But there is this sort of wobble around you. Because the transition is so big, I think it's feeling for you guys. I feel like you're riding waves. That's what it feels like. You ride a wave. I'm literally seeing waves. You know those magnificent, I've seen those magnificent video clips of surfers. You know, they're surfing and they're literally in the wave and then they come up on the top of it. But they can literally be inside it at times. They're inside the wave, then they come up and ride it. I feel like for you, the transitions that are taking place at the moment in your world are coming in like waves. And there's a need to remain anchored. There's a need to sit in a space of what I would call courage, to ride those waves. I mean, I kind of look at those surfy things and I'm just amazed and blown away at somebody's ability to be able to be in tune with that power and the force of nature, and to kind of harness it. So there's something about being able to own your own strength, own your own power, own your own courage, believe in yourself, take charge of your desires, your passion, your where you want to go, what you want to bring into the world, but also handle what I would call the trying things on for size. So it's almost like lots of doorways are opening for you at the moment, and you'll open a doorway and you'll go into that room. This is just a metaphor, but it's a good way of perhaps talking about it. You go into that room, you need to check it out. If it doesn't feel right, you need to come back out and go into the next room. It's like these different waves are showing you different horizons, different shores that you could be heading for. And I don't think you have a clarity yet as to exactly what shore you want to go to. Okay, now I think you know you want to arrive at a new shore. You know that you want something different. You know that you are processing very powerful external changes. You're creating external changes in your world, but you're needing to evaluate. Excuse me. So, tuning in with Palo Santo, this really resets energy that is influenced by negativity or trauma. So, for some of you, you are literally in the process of trying on different avenues of your world. You're trying things on for size and literally seeing what resonates and what doesn't. Now, this could be work, it could be career pathways, it could be friendships, it could be relationships. There's something about trying something on for size here. It's really very big. It's like the shape of your world. So if we think about, I'm trying to think how best to communicate what I'm feeling, because it feels very big. Now, tune in with Palo Santo, just connect with the energy of this, because it resets things. So I feel like if you had created a vision board, going back to the idea of those different rooms, if you had created a vision board and you fill that vision board with images of the world that you wish to manifest, you could have done a vision board 5 years ago. And if you re-looked at that vision board, you might now find that there are things on it that are no longer applicable to you. I feel like the energy around you is quite fast. And you're in a very creative space at the moment, and yet because it's fast and the waves are coming in quite fast, it's almost as though you catch sight of a particular I don't know, island, land, shore that you could arrive at, and before you know it, another wave has come in and you've been shown something else. And so it's almost quite hard. I think you're almost sometimes spoilt for choice, or as the choices come in, it's like you're dealing with the disappointment. You walk into the room, you thought that was going to be the one, or you've created a vision board, you thought that was it, and then suddenly something happens that shifts your perspective. I'd really like you to trust in the process here. You're being shown lots of different horizons. You're climbing ladders, and yes, you're sliding down them. Again, this is the snakes and ladders, 7 of Cups. But you're being given choices and you're being shown different avenues, not because you're getting it wrong. This is really important here. Not because you're getting it wrong. And that's the danger, that we could perceive ourselves as making the wrong choices, or not able to make the right choices, or not attracting the right person or the right job or the right circumstance or the right shore to land on, the right room to walk into. It isn't you're not getting anything wrong at all. Really clear. Actually, what's happening is you're in a little phase of quite accelerated growth, and you are being shown things that are being offered to you to help you to define what it is you want, the clarity of direction that you're seeking. And as you're shown these things, for some of you, you're also resolving some layers of trauma that have happened in the past. Okay? Now, just not very long ago here in the UK, there was a big landslide. It happened on the south coast, part of what we call the Jurassic coast here. And as that landslide happened, there was a sort of a recognition, and I may have spoken about this before, I've spoken to quite a few people about it. There's a recognition that this is actually part of how the Jurassic coast is reforming itself. In one way, we're seeing a landslide and a piece of the coastline has now changed. It's radically gone. What we have to do is wait for the waves to come rolling in, and they will sift through the sand and the rubble, and eventually we will see a clear rock face, and it will show all the layers of history as well within it. There are lots of fossils to be found. So there's something happening in your world at the moment that is not only offering you different experiences, the glimpses of different shores, so that you can actually define your definite direction, which is coming. Clarity is coming. You are promised that here. This is a rune of promise, joy. It's wonderful. At the same time, you are also being shown aspects of your history that you no longer wish to connect with. So you're really being given an opportunity to try things on for size. It isn't that you're making the wrong choices or attracting the wrong people. It's if something comes into your world that isn't quite right, it's because you are being given an opportunity to fine-tune the fact that that no longer belongs to you. One of the underlying layers that's being offered to you here is to actually let go once and for all of that part of you that believed you were no good at making choices because things went wrong in your world. Actually, all is well. Everything is happening exactly as it is supposed to, with hidden blessings that you will soon understand. The universe really has your back. That's what I want to say. The universe has your back. You are being called within this process to develop something of your own inner strength, where you fundamentally believe in yourself. It's not just about feeling as though you make the right choices. It's knowing you have the right to choose. There's a layer in this as well. It's almost as though for some of you, a very specific message actually here, for some of you it's as though in the past you have made choices, but it's like you endured something, you stayed with something. That's this wonderful Palo Santo that helps us to release and transform any aspect of trauma from the past. It's almost as though it's like if you embarked on a relationship and you made a commitment, it's like you stayed in that commitment too long, even though you could see the relationship was unhealthy. It's like it had to get really bad before you'd say no. It's almost as though you didn't realise that you just had the right to choose. If we use the analogy of relationships here, which will apply to some of you, if you're dating, it doesn't have to be drastically bad for you to say no. You're actually allowed to just try someone on for size and say, do you know what, you're absolutely lovely, but you're not right for me. You know, it's that right to make those choices here that's coming through. And don't feel if you're attracting in people who you feel are wrong for you, it's because there's something wrong. What you're being given is an opportunity to discover that you have the right to make these choices. You have the right to be co-creative, the right to dream in and manifest the relationship that you want, or the career pathway, whatever aspect of your world this is connecting to. There is a layer that's being processed here of your own entitlement to make choices that are right and to discover. It's not about making the wrong choices. It's about knowing your right to choose. And that creates this underlying level of sort of self-esteem. We're dealing here with an aspect of self-esteem. I spoke in the last reading about my the free online library, the A to Z of emotional health. If I can just bring that up. Yeah, so www.azemotionalhealth.com. The library was sort of my parting gift to my profession as I moved away from working full-time as a sort of mainstream counsellor and psychotherapist, which is what I did for many, many years. And in the library, there's quite a lot of stuff about confidence and self-esteem and the difference between them. This reading is dealing with self-esteem. This reading is saying you're in a phase of learning to really have an ownership of your self-esteem. It's not just about confidence. Confidence, we can learn confidence. We can get confident about something. If we do it enough, we can get confident about it. But it doesn't mean that our self-esteem is good. You know, look at, I don't know, rock stars are a good example. Very famous people can get up and perform in front of an amazingly huge audience. They have confidence, but they can come away and pick themselves to pieces and feel like their performance was rubbish, even if the crowd were going bananas. You know, it's like their self-esteem is quite low, even though their confidence is high. There's a big difference. This reading is saying you are in the process of changing some aspects of your external world in a very big way, but it's about you taking charge of it. And yes, stuff is coming in wave after wave, big waves, and then you're diving deep down into the centre of the wave, and that's where that sense of wobble comes in. But actually, the purpose of this is that you are learning to trust your entitlement and your right. Things don't have to be bad for you to choose, and you are allowed to try things on for size. You are allowed to weigh things up. You are allowed to work out what's right for you. Something very strong here. And in the process of this phase of choices, going into different rooms, actually each layer, each time you go up a wave and come back down again, you resolve something that connects to some previous aspect of history or trauma. Just remove that from our vision. And this rune of joy is really holding for me a beacon of light. And as is the card All Is Well, Archangel Jeremiah. Everything is happening exactly as it is supposed to, with hidden blessings that you will soon understand. The rune of joy is is out of darkness. A time of travail is coming to an end. You are going to see the light. You are going to know the shore you want to go to. This reading is offering reassurance, and it's also acknowledging and validating the actual process that you're going through. Okay, very powerful, because each time you come up a wave and go down again, you are in a space where you develop, literally, it's like you become that surfer. You develop greater skills. So instead of, at the top of a big wave, you fall off your surfing board, you're starting to learn to dive, to go up to the top and dive back down again, and then come back out on top again. There's something about developing your own capacity to navigate and understand you have the right to choose, and this is really going to shift your external world. The rune of joy is wonderful. It really is. It's like a new dawn. It literally is a new dawn. It's the sunrise coming up, carried across the gap by the wings of heaven. So you really are being supported here. And the wobble is just part of you learning to believe in yourself. You are important, you are lovable, you are special, you are a unique and extraordinary person. Wherever you come from, whatever has happened to you in the past, it is time to let go of any negative perceptions that you may carry about yourself. That history is, I really want to say, dead and gone. Let it go, move on, new dawn. This rune, I mean, look at this wonderful card of death. It's a new dawn. It's a new horizon. So much evaluation taking place here. But, this is lovely. It's lovely. I'm not saying it's easy. That's what I want to say to you guys. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's lovely. Okay, so really, really ride those waves. When you're on top of a wave, be the surfer. When you're in deep water, become a diver, so that you peel back those layers, you let go of them. This is a systematic processing and proper letting go of past layers that have held you back. Build that self-esteem. Go to the library, build your self-esteem. In fact, you don't have to go to the library. Just build your self-esteem. Trust in yourself. You have the right to be you, and you know there is something so powerful, and everything that you are experiencing here is simply being shown to you so that you can choose to let go of something that no longer serves you and move beyond it. Trust the process. All is well. Wonderful friends. So much love to you. Namaste.